Hello everybody. I have another video for you. This one is an illustration that I made December 20th and finished it January 14th. I just figured out a little trick in Procreate is that I shouldn't export the video first, because then it'll say the date last modified was today. But if I don't do anything and just go straight to the statistics, it'll say when it was actually last modified. So that's great. So December 20th, 2020 is when I started it, and January 14th of 2021 was when I last opened it. That might be a couple days after I finished it, because I was exporting videos and photos and stuff like that to post on social media, but around that time. It's also 11 by 17, like the others, but instead this one is portrait instead of landscape, so I sort of changed it up there. And after having so many illustrations that were landscape, doing one that was portrait was a little bit tricky because I was so used to the landscape, but it was still really fun. And it's 300 DPI, 11 by 17, and it took 11 hours and 36 minutes. So, around the same time that sort of the witch one took place in. And, because of that, I'm starting to get, a bit of consistency in, sort of my illustrations and a bit of my illustration style. You can see with this one, there have been a couple of illustrations between the witch one and this one, but I don't like those as much as I do these ones. So you can see sort of a bit of the growth that has taken place. My line art is, it still has a sketchy quality, but it's a lot more polished than it has been in the past. And the color palette, especially for this one, because this one sort of has a darker tone to it, the color palette is a bit more subdued and a bit more monochrome, similar to the vampire illustration, but it's a lot more desaturated because it has a darker tone to it. And then sort of going into the concept of this one, it's not really a super deep concept. It's based off of the song Ghosting by Mother Mother. I know that the song isn't actually about a ghost and being a ghost. It's about a lot of different things. But it's a bit on the nose. But when I was listening to this song, I just sort of thought of this concept, and I thought it was kind of fun. And I decided to draw it out. The fun thing about this illustration, though, is that I sort of did a TikTok series on how I make illustrations by using this one as an example. And so as I made it, I would at each sort of milestone in the illustration, I would just sort of make a little video explaining how I did it and what I did and what my thought process is. So then this one, unlike the vampire illustration one where I just sort of posted a Speedpaint with no sound or whatever, actually has sort of an in-depth technical description and step-by-step of what I actually did. And I do have that one on my YouTube channel, a compilation of all of the TikTok videos, and then it's also, on my TikTok, but it's way far down there since, I did this in December of 2020. Yeah, but it's all on my YouTube channel. Yeah. Also, if you hear any weird rustling, it's probably because, so if you don't know what my, sick audio setup is, it's basically I have one of those phone microphones, and so then I have the phone microphone with an aux adapter up to a USB-C adapter plugged into my iPad right now, and then I am currently like hunched under my my covers on my bed to sort of muffle the sound. And then since like with like the last 2 videos, like it does like this weird thing with the sound, like it like picks up every single sound. I sort of have it half plugged in, so it only picks up like my voice at a lower volume. So then this is actually like a half plugged in, like super cheap, like $10 phone mic, with me hunched over my duvet covers. So that's what the rustling is me making like movement under the duvet covers, which is better than the super crispy, catching every single background noise that it used to be. But I am planning eventually to buy a mic, and then instead of recording these once a week, I'll like batch record 5 of them at once with a new nice mic. So then I have more of a backlog for my Patreon. Yeah, currently at this point that I'm filming, my Patreon is technically live, but I haven't advertised it, and I don't have any Patreons, so right now I'm currently trying to create a backlog of these videos. So, you know, I hope who's ever, like, listening to this enjoys this. But, yeah, going back into the illustration itself, you can see sort of like the, this is like a sketch on top of the, perspective. So, like, I did the basic sketch, and you could see me, like, isolating the people and then going into what they look like. And then since, well, you know, it's one person, it's their body and then their ghost specter form. But you can see that I had to isolate them, especially the ghost form, because they're see-through. And then having them and then like the bookcase under them. So then I had to do the people on separate layers, both the line art and the color. Technically not the like body, but the ghost specifically. I had to do the line art and the color on separate layers because I put the color for the ghost on, what layer mode did I put it on? Maybe I put it on screen, or maybe I put it on overlay and then turned down the opacity. I played with that a little bit to see which one I liked better, just sort of what layer mode or just turning down the opacity on that would do. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have done some really cool stuff having sort of like a specter in there and making them sort of glow more, maybe sort of making them like have like sort of like a blurry quality to them. Maybe I'll play around with sort of illustrating like sort of ghosts and specters more. I think that could be a lot of fun. And then you can see specifically here, I sort of turned down the opacity of the bookcase behind them, since you couldn't quite see. They are see-through, but you couldn't quite see the books behind them as well. And then this is where I'm like sort of illustrating for the colors. And so here I also have sort of like that monochrome feel, but definitely a lower saturation, a bit more moody and cool. This one also has a similar problem where I don't quite know where the light source is coming from. I think I was like, okay, so there's a window off in the distance there, and then I made that. But you know, other than that, I think I do really like this illustration and the way that it turned out. Also, the bookcase and the closet are based off of mine, except my bookcase is in a different part of my room, so they aren't like together. And then the same thing for like the posters. It just sort of looks like my room in general. So if you're having trouble making a room, I would definitely recommend that. But anyway, the video's over. I hope you have a wonderful day, and goodbye.